Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back to Paladins. Now, we've had some interesting things done in Paladins lately that have caused some pretty extreme balance changes, and to the extent that I would now say that the game is fairly unbalanced. And I did a video about this in regards to the hero changes that have been taken way out of their niche, way out of their role, had things added to them or swapped out for absolutely no reason other than it seems to have been that their analogues in other games have had it done to them, and stuff like that. But this week, with Halloween in full swing and some of the Halloween stuff on Paladins looks kind of cool, but we've got a new character called Terminus. And it's this guy. And he came out literally within the last couple of hours. And he's a seemingly melee-only character. Now, as you can see, I've not played him at all. I've not got anything unlocked. And so we're going to go through this as a first impressions as much as a breakdown. But let's take a look at this. He's melee focused, and this is a problem for Paladins, I feel, unless they add in more stuff around this, because so far there have been no melee characters in Paladins. There have been a couple of abilities that have brought you into melee, you know, Makoa's ultimate, the Zin's reflection, or his riposte, and then more recently the unnecessarily created kind of change, or the unnecessarily changed defiance for Androxus to seemingly prompt Androxus coming into melee more. The thing is, that punch is very, very powerful, disproportionately so considering that it's on a character like Androxus that has mobility and it's pretty hard hitting anyway, and stuff like that. That punch that allows him to walk straight through shields and just land a blow on someone, you know, is substantial. And so now having a full melee character introduced to the game, which, don't get me wrong, he looks cool, he looks interesting, but having him brought in at a time when there are no counters to him realistically, apart from just finding a way to kill him, is bizarre to me. You know, it throws the balance way in favor of one character over another, and this guy being a frontline where frontlines have been suffering anyway because of the stupid changes and the stupid kind of neglect almost that the frontliners have basically had. It worries me. But let's take a look at his abilities here. So he swings his axe in a large arc, which in theory would be right in front of him, and hits any enemy that's in that span will take 700 damage. So that's 700 damage. That's more than Cassie does per hit, and this is to everybody within his arc. Now, I understand that, again, this guy is going to be like Torvald was, where if they're in close quarters, then, you know, you're going to want to be wary of him because he's not going to be tackled easily on close quarters. But so, like, doing a damage dealer's damage amount within, like, as an AoE in front of you, you know, like, Torvald was dangerous because he wouldn't die, and because as soon as you got in close he would just sap away at you. This seems very, very large to me. You know, some are like 2 and a bit hits from this guy ends a lot of the squishier characters, when, you know, whilst there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, a lot of those characters do have to get in close. This guy's an instant counter to almost every flank in the game. But anyway, his offhand, or his secondary fire, is Calamity Blast. Fire a projectile that deals 250 damage, an additional projectile for every charge you have stored. Okay, so he's got his own resource to charge up with. And I can't help but feel that this is very Doomfist-esque, just the other way around, where he's got this really heavy hit, but he's got this like little piddly kind of blast going off on the offhand there, just to keep him competitive. And we'll have to see what kind of range that's at as well, because if he's like Torvald and now has dominance at close quarters and then can still chase to stupidly long ranges, so that he's not just a I'm going to dominate the point, he's I can chase, I can harass, I can cause problems well outside of my sphere of influence, really, or rather elongate the sphere of influence quite substantially, so that he doesn't have to worry about not picking people off. You know, that's a concern. But anyway, his F movement ability, leap into the air and bring down your axe in a vicious smash. So that's just a charge, essentially. That's a jump forward. It's something like that, slowing enemies in front of you. And you know what? I don't have an issue with that, because if I mean, the damage might still be a little high to my mind, but overall, that's just a straightforward CC skill that you would expect on a frontliner, on a tank. Power Siphon, create a powerful funnel that absorbs enemy projectiles. Okay, so this is very similar to D.Va's ability. For every... Yeah, so he's just nullifying enemy projectiles to store himself up on power in this case. You know, that's an energy management thing, that's fine. But again, that's... like, granted, it might take him a while to store all of that, but this guy is there just to ruin the lives of everybody. Because the tanks, his axe is just going to swing straight through the front line through their shields, apart from Inara. She's going to be the only one that stands up against this guy, which, considering he looks to be some kind of animated statue, maybe makes some sense. I mean, in fact, he looks very similar to Inara, apart from the crystally stuff. So maybe that's the contrast here. Maybe that's why she's going to be probably one of the more survivable, stronger counters against him. But again, tank on tank counters is an interesting one. But he's going to swing through everyone else's shields. He's going to absorb any high damage character that tries to take him on. Isn't going to be able to do it, because all he needs to do is pop that Power Siphon, and he's just going to suck up all of that damage and just make himself stronger. The anyone that's got a relatively low health, like 2 swings, 2 seconds worth, give or take, and they're gone. And then in terms of healers, you know, if he can get to you, jump straight to you and swing away, especially if he's got Cauterize on him, you're screwed. But then his ultimate is Reanimate, which is return to life after 2.5 seconds in a large explosion of necromantic energy that deals 4,000 damage to affected enemies. So not only do you reanimate, not only do you get back up, yeah, also you deal 4,000 damage, which is enough to take out like anyone other than a frontliner. Like... This seems ridiculous to me. But let's take a look at his cards here. So below 50% health, you gain a 35% damage reduction. Okay, that seems pretty fine to me. That's not a problem. Charge blasts deal an additional 100 damage. That's also fine. Now stuns, but enemies for 1 second, but no longer slows. Okay, so that one's probably not all that worthwhile. Like, these two are fine, and that one's just a swap out. You know, it's not the other bits and pieces that I'm worried about on the Shatterfall. It's the damage number being a tad high again, and the fact that it seems to be dealt to everybody that's there. But let's take a quick look at Loadout, shall we? So this is Power Siphon. So in theory, you're going to want to heal 5% for damage absorbed. Yeah, well, you're going to want to use that to heal up off. So we'll take that. What else have we got? Calamity Blast. Kills generate a blast charge. Calamity shots reduced healing. Okay. Enemies affected are revealed. Gain up to 6% damage reduction based on the number of charges you have stored. So if you're not using your alt fire, then that's That's going to be a good one to have. So I'm going to take that. Why didn't that one equip? There we go. Right. So what we got? Reduce crowd control, which would be useful if you're jumping around, but then again, like, the crowd control in this game isn't huge. Reduce the damage required to generate a charge by 100. That's a powerful card, but I'm not going to take that one because I mean, we could actually. I mean, I don't have that much essence, so let's take a look at some of these others first. Below 50, you receive more healing, so that with the damage reduction means that he's just going to heal up really quick. So we'll take the extra health, we'll take that. And now we got one more. So gain life steal against affected enemies after Shatterfall. Heal for 100 for every enemy that you hit with Shatterfall. Gain damage reduction, increase the leap distance. See, now that's a good one if you're going to be jumping in a lot. But if you want to be stood on the point and holding back and stuff like that, then I think we'll go for this one. I think we'll go for Necromantic Might, so that game, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm really trying to just make this work, please. So stop it. Okay, so what do we want? So that goes up, yeah, that goes up at 5% a time. This goes up at 6% a time. That goes up 150 a time. So reducing it by 400, so it was 1,200. So that make that only 900 damage. So if you reduced, well, if you reduced, no, sorry, if you reduced it by 300, it'd be 900. It's 800, which could be one hit potentially. So, but if we drop it to 1,000, then that's at least 2 hits. So that's, I think, if we do that, I mean that's a big one. So let's pop that up to an extra 300. Do we want extra 20% maybe? Gain damage reduction based on the number of charges. So 12% damage reduction based on the number of charges you have. Oh, up to 12%. Okay, so if you've got... So if we go for that, that's extra 20%, and then heal for 10% of the damage absorbed. Actually, because if the damage absorbed, I mean, the damage absorbed could be quite substantial, but I don't know whether or not 10% of it would do that much. What could we lower? Because we've got this on 4, so if we drop that to 15 and push that up to 15, then that's more of a parity. We'll go with that. We'll go with that and see how that goes. So, Seb in Terminus. Yeah, there we go. We'll go with that. Save and exit. I don't go away. I don't know what you are. I don't know what you want. Go away. Right. Also, I just noticed something that as we're headed to the shooting range, I'll take a look at. But let's get rid of this first. Apparently, my picks did fairly well because I've now got 4,400. Alright. So now it's showing that I got 100 per, but I don't know why it wasn't for the first. Why it's not showing that for the first 2 weeks. Strange. Okay. Well, anyway, let's go, and that's a qualm for another time. Let's jump into the shooting range and take a look at what we can do with this. Oh yeah, put the hat on. Put the hat on. Terminus fella. Because we want to see what his range is with his Calamity Blast. We want to see how long his various bits and pieces last for, whether or not that defensive absorbing thing is a time thing, or if it's a toggle of some sort. If it's a toggle, then they've taken it straight off the strength of the team is each member. Off Diva from Overwatch, as it were. Right, let's take the damage reduction card. Let's take our thing. Right. I mean, that's a fairly slow rate of fire, which is fine. Let's... Okay, so it has, yeah, so it has a...
Now that's out of the way.
So if she hadn't... But it... Oh, okay, so the bar needs to recharge before you can use it again. Okay, so you've got both an energy bar and a... But like there, we got 4 shards straight up. Just because she didn't have to reload. And with the extra 300, so he's on 4,900 health normally. What's his range then? What's his effective? Okay, so yeah, 3 hits to kill a Sky, but it doesn't show us an effective range for his
enemy killing spree.
His alt fire. Can I really? Can I? I don't care if there are credits to spend. Shut up. So you can sit. Okay, so there is a cutoff, and it seems to be. So I need to be able to see a health bar. Good God! Like I can sit a good what, maybe half the way across the map, and tag people with that. But right, okay. So let's see then. So we're at 200 here. She's at 100.
Is that good?
Go. Okay, so his charge is just under 50 units and has quite a substantial. Like if if we charge from 150. Like let's see how. Okay, so the effect though seems to go another 50 odd units. Like hold on, like these two, you're just ahead of 50 and you're kind of almost at 0 point. So let's charge from here. Okay, so it comes short of her, so, but it's that, Jesus, that's still such a significant.
An enemy is immortal.
Like that swing, that, because I hold that and he just swings away. I just hold down mouse 1 and he's just going. And it's slow, but it's there. Right, now let's we need to kill some more people just to get our stuff up. So
killing spree.
like the only thing that I feel is balancing almost for him is that slow swing speed. But like if he can continually absorb damage and then like just do that, then okay, kill me, Cassie. Kill me. You know you want to.
Enemy double kill. 2 kills at the same time.
And he just
5 in a row.
all he needs to he can run in on the point as long as he's got ult. Die and just blow himself. Like he could literally stop swinging, stop defending his team, and he wins. Wow. Okay. Let's back out of this and jump into a bot match, cause like this is. I mean, I don't get how they, you know, like.
Select a champion.
Someone else got it. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so we've got him this time, and yeah, let's see how he goes. Like Jaguar Falls, I feel is a good map to test. It's a fairly standard kind of open map to one extent or another, with both confined spaces and open spaces, as well as we're going to test his kind of protective capabilities, considering we've got on the point 4 means of entry. The unfortunate thing is, I suppose, we don't have a healer. The fortunate thing is, though, that we don't have a healer. So potentially, as long as I keep swinging, as long as I keep picking up ult charge, then I'm going to have more than enough reason to fire off that ult and just wipe out the enemy team as they get to the point. And now, obviously, we're practicing against AI. They're going to rush towards the point straight into either an axe or death in various other ways. But let's see. So we've got a ruckus. He's just going to blind fire into my thing. I think what we're going to do is we want to take out... Well, we want to take all of them out, but we want to take out Maldamba, because if we can suppress him with some cauterize, then we'll be good. So I think that's what we'll take for damage, but I think, because I think we've got some... We're going to have to take morale. I mean, I feel like this is the thing with a lot of the heroes that they're introducing at the moment. Like, taking morale boost to get that ultimate charge is just so valuable now. You know, especially for tanks. For Ashe, for this guy, you know, they're making a point of trying to force diversification in a way. But at the same time, it's like...
Get over the spawn doors right now.
I don't know, I don't feel like this is necessarily the way to do it, but... Hmm.
5, 4, 3, 2,
But let's...
1.
Oh my god, that horse looks so small underneath me. Coming out the door, lard ass. Okay, and we're here. Well, I want to get off the horse.
And here the story begins, as the prime blood has been spilled.
No defenses at all to that. I was just able to, like, it was either a case of they kill me or I march over and kill them, and
Quit your rattling. I am a generous kid.
The payload.
What is that?
Killing spree.
like how? And then he heals me up and gives me some energy back. Well, essentially through doing that. And then I just hang back with the objective to store myself back up again until... Like... Two strikes and Ruckus just goes down as well. Granted, you've got more people like there doing damage. We're a very high damage team at the moment, but and Androxus's shield, which is essentially Fernando's shield but smaller, with an extra effect on it. Ah, I missed. Oh, he's dead anyway. Like, I like playing kind of melee characters in a lot of games. You know, playing Battleborn, I would play a lot of melee characters. In a lot of other games, I play a lot of melee characters. You know, I like getting up close, personal, getting in someone's face, but at the same time, it's like I don't even think we need that at the moment, but well, we're going to take it anyway. But yeah, like in this game, there's just no defense against it. Like the most you could do would be put an Inara wall in the way, because I swing straight through shields, especially considering that Androxus's shield is literally just a big rectangle that he's holding there, and it's just that when the duration runs out on it, he gets an effect from it.
4, 3, 2,
like, you know, at the very most. And so, like, that's... Oh.
unstoppable.
The king appreciates
Like, he hits so hard and has so much health, and like he gains so much just from walking at enemies. Like, this is like the biggest issue at the moment is I can't take part in this fight now if I want to do my job and hold the point. But now that we're marching ever forward, the most I need to really do is make sure that there's no one behind me.
That's 9 in a row.
It's another
For some
down.
reason we're counting by odds only. Enemy killing spree.
Maeve's ultimate is useless against me because she's so close that
Immortal.
Deny me this embrace.
Still die. No. Great job.
like this is
Come here.
like if do you know what I would be really enjoying this and liking this if it was in a game where it actually made sense, but it doesn't.
Shake it off.
I am a generous.
Like, all I need to do is walk at people swinging, and the arc is so large that I can swing straight over the cart.
That 13. Okay, seriously?
Completely
Only
nullify
odds. Can't do
his
14
ultimate,
kills. We don't save time.
swing through his shield.
Oh, well, shoot. I think this one's an annihilation.
I've not like I don't know how they thought that this would be a good idea.
Another win.
I don't know how they thought this was a good idea. He's so like I don't even fit on the fucking end screen. No ultimate for you. You're dead.
Don't deny me this embrace.
Another win. I'm not surprised.
Okay, let's take a look at the actual results then. So first off, yeah, no surprises there. We actually did our job. We stayed on the point, but we golds across the board. Most killing blow. We beat out the best flank, which granted we didn't have a flank, but we beat out the best flank by 14 killing blows. We were obviously the best objective time. High top kill streak. Okay, so what? I was double almost the entire team's. Like, I was 2 people's kill streaks put together, with the exception of Cassie. Just because I didn't die and I was able to clip and swing through everybody. Like, complete solo kills, fair enough. We apparently got more than everybody else there, which I find kind of odd, but okay. Most kills, no deaths, and then most second most assists just on tagging people. I did nearly as much damage as the this character, man. It doesn't how. In a game that had specifically avoided melee and has done consistently all the way through, regardless of how many times they had the option to put melee in and whatever else, and now so that all of those characters are tuned for ranged combat, be it short range, kind of mid range, or long range, in various different ways. That's what those characters, all of the other characters in the game, have been tuned towards. Now they add Androxus, who was already a very strong pick, gets a punch, which allows it. I've seen Androxuses when I've been playing. One of them seemingly hasn't entirely realised how strong the punch is, and he's sat there with reversal, and the other Androxus on the other team has run up and just punched him in the face and taken him out. Like, that's already a really powerful ability, especially if you're able as Androxus to creep round behind people and just punch them in the back of the head. Yeah? Like, 2-3 bullets and a punch and you're done. When there was no need to change his defiance, his fanning the hammer in the first place. And now a character that has a very slow attack speed is otherwise kind of, I wouldn't say conventional, but otherwise doesn't really seem to have that many other downsides other than his slow attack speed. And now, and yet his main kind of focus on combat and his area of the fight, which should be on the objective, just means that people run towards him and die. Like, they took Torvald out and made of this space and made him into some kind of mid-range nightmare, but they also made they made him more damage focused. They made him weaker, and yet now they throw this into the game. Like, the balance in Paladins is what's going wrong now. To begin with, I felt that things were fairly nicely balanced when I first started playing Paladins. There are a couple of tweaks here and there, obviously. You know, I felt maybe Sky's bomb needed some tweaking to begin with. That was one of my biggest complaints, because she was the only character that had an entire team kill just from one button press. Which, again, that got toned down and it was made high risk, high reward, but then she was able to throw it, and that high risk, high reward situation was removed. And then you had things like Lex thrown in, where his ult was just too strong, and arguably still is, in my opinion. And yet now they throw in a character who just, if you fight him, then you die. If you try and take him on from range, then you make him stronger. If you try and run from him, he can tag you down. And if you actually manage to kill him, then he can get himself back up and explode in such a severe way that it kills probably not just you, but also the majority of your team. Madness. Complete madness. Anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you guys would think about this. Like, I've seen hi-rez's other games. I have watched Smite get played numerous times. I played it briefly myself, but I'm not a big fan of kind of MOBA games overall. Team shooters, team arena shooters, I could kind of get behind a little bit, but your average MOBA isn't something that really appeals to me. And yet I'm looking at this and going, like, that seemed reasonably well balanced. This is going way off the deep end. When you've got characters that, just because their focus is melee, they have this huge advantage. Like, again, lots of people would compare kind of this to Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch, and to a degree Battleborn. And I was playing Battleborn again the other evening, and their characters, their roster, you've got a lot of variation. You've got a lot of interesting mechanics and characters there. You've got a lot of stuff there, but it's all seemingly pretty well balanced. There doesn't seem to be anything that stands out horribly in one way or the other, and that's with constant level ups throughout the time that you're fighting, you know. And so that's very comparable to this, and yet this you know, if I'm playing a melee character in that game against another melee character, or against a ranged character or something like that, I don't feel like, just because they're able to get in close and that's their focus, that they have this kind of advantage. But here you just do, just because of the way that the game has been tuned so far. Like, as said, the one thing that springs out to me in regards to a counter to Terminus here is Inara, because she could just put a wall up in the way and be like, no, go the hell away. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think. I'm actually getting to the point with Paladins where their skill balance or lack thereof is so obscene, or character balance is getting to the point that it's so ridiculous that I'm actually getting tired of it. Like, I've got games that bug me because their writing isn't up to scratch, or the mechanics they threw in are sometimes so good, but most of the times they're just wonky. That they leave out the narrative mesh between the story and player interaction with the world, and then the mechanical interaction with the world and stuff like that. And yeah, at least most of those games manage to go, well, no one person is necessarily stronger than the other in kind of a horrible way. Yeah, just because of what they've decided to play. Maybe the way that they've customized their character has come out with some kind of really great meta build, or that they've just come out with a thing in the system where they've used it really well and they've done okay with it. But it's not just a case of, well, actually everything in the game is designed for this thing, but now we're going to add something in, and if you decide to play this character, then you've basically won. It's and yet I don't hate developers for it. The thing that I get frustrated about is the fact that the developers are often too close to their own work, and so they don't see it happening. And so again, like, I come back to the front page here, and at one point, just down here somewhere, there was the feedback button. It was right there. I was able to go and give feedback directly on every new thing they were adding, on every other thing they were adding. And now it's not here anymore. And as I've said in the past, I don't know where it's gone. I'd love to know, because my God, do I have an awful lot of feedback for these people? But at the same time, I don't think it matters anymore because of how far they've progressed at the moment. There have been people who have been commenting about certain characters, especially some of the tanks and some of the overpowered damage dealers, and the way that there's not an awful lot of variation between some of the characters. You've had people bringing those things up, and yet it's been ignored. But anyway, guys, I'm starting to get rambly because this character is insane, and part of me almost hates to see what's going to be coming up next in terms of characters and things, because if they're suddenly making a shift towards melee, then that means that full melee teams are going to just laugh their way through kind of all manner of other stuff. Especially if their range, as with Terminus there, with his second ability being able to shoot halfway across the map, 300-400 units, when I believe that this achievement for being a sniper is shoot someone further than 700 units. So he's still got such a significant range, and it doesn't do a huge amount of damage. The most damage it does is 1,000 points. But if you've already engaged him and then you're trying to run away, that's enough to take you out. But anyway, guys, I'd love to know what your thoughts are around this. And otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.